Okay, we're in volume 5 of the Bible story by Arthur S Maxwell. And we are at part 4, story 4, the sun turns back. I've heard of this story before, but let's see what happens. One of the most wonderful events in history occurred in the reign of Hezekiah. The king had fallen sick, and Isaiah told him that he was going to die. But Hezekiah didn't want to die. So he turned his face to the wall and prayed unto God, saying, I beseech thee, O Lord, remember how I walk before thee in truth and with perfect heart, and have done that which is good in thy sight. As he prayed, he wept with a great weeping. God heard his faithful servant. Before Isaiah had gone as far as middle court of the king's house, the word of the Lord came to him, saying, Turn again and tell Hezekiah, the captain of my people, Thus saith the Lord, the God of David, thy father, I have heard thy prayer. I have seen thy tears. Behold, I will heal thee. On the third day thou shalt go up unto the house of the Lord, and I will add unto thy days 15 years. How far it was from the king's bedroom to the middle of the court, I don't know. But in a little time it took Isaiah to walk that distance, the answer came. Hezekiah then asked if he might have a sign that the Lord was really going to heal him. Yes, said Isaiah, he could, and he would choose one of two. He pointed at a sundial in the garden outside the royal bedroom. He asked the king if he would like the shadow to go forward 10 degrees or back 10 degrees. In olden times, before clocks were invented, sundials were used to tell the time by means of the shadow cast by the sun. Now, although Hezekiah was a very sick man, who but a few minutes before had been weeping heartbrokenly at the wall. I'm going to say at the wall, but I'm not sure what it says. But they're looking down at the sundial. And degrees, if you look at this little thing called a compass, it has these numbers on it. And these numbers that are in a circle, and those are called degrees. Okay? Had been weeping heartbrokenly at the thought of approaching death. His mind was still keen enough to see that if the shadow went forward 10 degrees, it would mean little. But if it went backwards 10 degrees, well, that might be a miracle of the first order. Let the shadow turn backwards 10 degrees, he said, whereupon Isaiah cried earnestly to God to do this marvelous thing. As the prophet prayed, the king watched as the sundial from his bed. Surely it couldn't be. Yes, the shadow was moving, not forward, but backwards. Nothing like this had ever happened before. It was beyond belief, but it was happening. Back, back, back it went. 1 degree, 2 degrees, 3 degrees, 4 degrees, miracles of miracles, 9, 8, 9, 10 degrees. Hezekiah must have gasped in amazement for a moment, perhaps. He thought he had asked too much, for there was God, for here was God upsetting the whole universe, or it seemed, to answer him simply, or rather thoughtless prayer. Simple and rather thoughtless prayer. It just shows how much God is prepared to do for those who love Him and trust Him with all their hearts. He will even make the sun turn back in the sky if need be, rather than disappointing one of His faithful children. And then, of course, has a picture of Him looking down at the sundial, while Isaiah is pointing at it. See, it's a full pager. Okay? And that was the end of part 4, story 4. So, like always, it's the break. So I'm going to break, and then we'll start on the next one. See you in a bit.